Hi, Jon Velie, CEO of OnlineVisas. Welcome back to Immigration Solutions during the coronavirus. So, kicking off with our stats of the day, it looks like right now in the world there are 826,200 plus cases of COVID-19. Kurt Hill is watching, one of the great guitar players of all time. There are over 40,700 deaths in the world. In the United States, we have risen to 178,051 cases and 3,559 deaths as of lunchtime. That is still just climbing all the time, and I think we're somewhere around 1,500 yesterday. So it's getting pretty rough. New York's taking the brunt. We're really seeing some growth in places like New Orleans because of Mardi Gras, and in Chicago has really been picking up. So a lot of people are looking at the peak in the next 9 to 10 days for some of those areas. But look, the peak's not going to be all at one place. It all, is not going to just be in one place. It's going to peak at different places and different times. So we're in this place of sheltering in place right now for a while. I didn't leave the house at all yesterday, but today it's a beautiful day. Look at this. The red buds are blooming behind me. I'm in beautiful Norman, Oklahoma. My dog's at my lap. My kids are at the house next door. We're doing as best we can, but it's springtime, so it could be a lot worse. I see Dana Kelso's here watching, and Gerald Ebbink. Oop, just lost some stats right there. 1 second. Oh. The wind, it blows in Oklahoma, and it took my stats, right? So we couldn't let that happen. Well, a couple of things I wanted to talk about is a couple of things. I've been talking about the medical profession a lot and what we can do. A couple of notes. We just put an article out on OnlineVisas. Go check out COVID-19 news on OnlineVisas.com to keep up with what we're doing. We'll post these videos there. We have articles we're writing. So number one thing, that we've been seeing a lot on is how do we help get doctors into this country to help us. So the J-1 visa is what foreign medical graduates come in on, and it's a training or a schooling visa, but allows them to come in and do medical things right now all the time. So the J-1, if you want to extend your J-1 and you're a foreign medical graduate student, you can check with ECFMG, that's the J-1 issuing entity, and you can generally extend your J-1 visa in 1 year increments up to 7 years. We were talking to our contact in India yesterday, and she said that a lot of the people that weren't selected for the J-1 program, the non-matches, had started getting match letters as recently as the other day. So it looks like we're reaching out to get more things that we can do. There's a shortage of doctors, according to the Association of American Medical Colleges. Prior to the COVID virus, the U.S. shortage, there would be a U.S. shortage of 122,000 physicians by 2023. That's prior to COVID-19. Now, mostly that was due to our aging U.S. population, but imagine what it's going to be like. We're asking doctors to come out of retirement and to come and start working again. Some of these folks they're on the front line. They're going to get sick. They're going to have to leave this. We're going to need people in there. So that's what we're trying to help. There's a couple things I'd like to make suggestions to the U.S. government on what it should do. Number one, more H-1B visas, right? There's a cap of 65,000 H-1B visas for every industry. The H-1B is for all jobs that require university degrees. That's lawyers, doctors, accountants, managers, all white collar jobs are sharing the same 65,000. They have an additional 20,000 for graduates of U.S. U.S. master's degree or higher programs in the United States, but 85,000, literally hundreds and thousands of jobs are open right now in the tech sector. The medical profession, like we said, we're going to need 122,000 more physicians prior to COVID to handle our healthcare system. Why do we have an arbitrary government-imposed cap? Let the market bear. Right now, I'd like that to see raised across the board, but do it for the medical profession. Open it up. Let more doctors come in to help us. In that, we can also have the H-1B visa holders not be stuck to working for one employer or one location, right? They should be more flexible than that. If you're in here to help with the COVID virus or the medical industry at all, you should be able to move from one hospital to another if they're needed, right? Maybe you have to send in a letter. Maybe you have to do it the right way. Make a regulation, but having this, very restrictive thing is just not the right way to do it. Hello, Connie Krantz, ProSense. It's good to see you. I saw Luke the other day back in town on his way back to Aspen. It's always great to see you guys around. Another thing, they could relax the O1 requirements. We've seen a ridiculous lifting of the extraordinary ability requirements. No new laws have been passed, just that immigration is just inventing new creative ways to deny extraordinary people the ability to come to this country. Again, like to see them put those back to where they were before, but at least relax it for the medical profession. Maybe even have a special O1C. You got the O1A for athletes, O1B for entertainers, and O1C for doctors. Should just be, have you worked in the profession for, say, some enumerated period of time? Maybe it's 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, maybe you've done certain things, but that should be the level. Let's get these folks in here that could help us. Maybe you want to put it into certain criterias like immunologists, anesthesiologists, people that are dealing with breathing problems. Things like that would be great. Ali Maldonado, great to see you. Jon McVeigh, great to see you. Michael, peace. Peace to you, brother. So those are some things we could do. We could also remove the ridiculous priority dates on green cards, right? If you didn't know this, there's numbers, limitations on green cards that point that it takes years and years after visas are approved just for people waiting in line. One of the biggest needs we have are nurses, right? Nurses are needed so much that they have a special green card process where they don't need to be recruited. And not too long ago, it was basically about a 6-month process to get a nurse a green card. Well, now the Philippines, which is the biggest supporter of nurses into the United States. And because of that, one of the highest minority groups as far as income are Filipinos because of the mobile nurses. These nurses will go anywhere. They'll go everywhere. They're helping us. They have been helping us as we've really been suffering with that. But, the genius of our government was to put a limitation on how many of them can come in. Now it's 4 years to come in, right? Take that off. For Indians, it can be 10 to 15 years. Some people think it's over 20 right now. Why is that? These are the best doctors in the world. Did you know that 1 out of every 4 doctors in the United States is an immigrant? And India is providing a great number of those people. Why are we shooting ourselves in the foot by keeping people out of this country that can help us? Those are my soapboxes there. Also, the TN visa, that's for Mexican and Canadian doctors, right? The TN Treaty NAFTA visa allows doctors to come in. But we have this really weird rule that says that only 10% of what these doctors can do would be seeing patients. Now, how does that make any sense, right? Get rid of that, right? Let's get these things so we can bring doctors in to help us out right now. So those are a couple of things I wanted to say. Masks, all right? Let's talk about masks. So the type of mask you want is an N95 mask, okay? Now, right now, people are telling, or the government's telling people, don't get masks, let the doctors have the mask. I agree with that 100%. But there's been this whole thing on, can you make your own mask? Well, we've seen Forbes did an interesting article on it. People have been making masks out of baseball player uniforms. Hey, Alan Petty, how are you? Brett Sanner, Sateri Coro, good to see you. Lori Gogol Miller is watching. Nice to see you guys. We're talking about masks. We're talking about making your own mask as we're coming up with that. We got fashion designers doing it. Okay, the kind of mask you want is an N95 mask. And there's some do-it-yourself kits, how you can make one of these things. I don't know that I could do it, but, there's people that are capable out there of doing it. But N95 means that it blocks out 95% of the particles, right? So make sure you just don't take something and strap it to your face and think it's going to work. One of the weirdest things I've seen lately is all the pictures of the, what do they call them? The plague doctors. Have you seen the plague doctor mask? These things are these long, bird-like masks that are really freaky looking. And, I got to say, I got to have one of those. That is some good looking stuff. Spooky as all get out, right? They're black and just some freaky looking stuff. So You might want one of those for your next Halloween party or whatever party we're going to get to see to next time. Alan Petty says he gave his away. Well, that's a nice thing, Alan. Gwen Witherspoon's here. Good to see you, Gwen. Good to see what you guys are up to. Hear the bells donging in the background. I'm in Norman, Oklahoma. That's Campus Corner behind me, and that is the union that has its bells all the time. Usually we get to hear some Boomer Sooner. Some other ones. You're hearing that music now, so lucky fellas. In the news, right? I had somebody say on Facebook today, can't trust the news. Thank God for the news, right? I mean, how would you like to be getting all of your information from the government right now, right? I mean, they'd probably tell us we don't have this virus. Do you know how many coronavirus cases have been, they're stated there are in North Korea? You know, Korea had a lot of them, right? Korea has probably 100,000 of them. North Korea has 0 coronavirus cases. Now, do you believe that? If you don't believe that, that's because of one thing. There is no news in North Korea that doesn't come out of the government, right? So your news is good for you. You may not like the particular channel or a particular slant, but you have a lot of choices. Pick what you want. I think these folks are guessing at some things, obviously. Are they worried? Yes. Are they trying to put us in a panic? No. They're trying to give us information. That's what their job is. It's 100% of what they're covering right now. But there's a lot of doctors out there, and when you have nothing to do, it's not a bad thing to click over to one of the news channels and find out what's going on, how many people have this, what's going on in those areas, being smart. If we didn't have news, we'd be in a really bad case, even a worse case than we are right now. So, I give it up to those guys, and I'm really glad they're around. It's one of my things. Oh, also, we've been talking a lot in the last couple of days about the CARES Act, what that means to you. I've been focusing a lot on small businesses. Now, those are businesses under 500 people like we have. What are we going to do, right? Well, they're calling it now the Payroll Protection Program. All right, PPP, and local banks are going to distribute that money. We've been letting that out little by little as we've been learning it. But check your local bank. Hey, Bobby Tanaka, it's good to see you. Phil Freeze there. Bobby Tanaka and I both were scrum halves at the University of California, Berkeley at different eras. Bobby was one of the greats before I got there, living in San Francisco. Good man. Right now, we're talking about immigration. I'm Jon Velie, CEO of OnlineVisas. Check us out on our website. You can schedule a strategy session if you'd like.